Look at that. Weather was great really all around the NFL today here in week 5. It was a weird day yesterday. A lot of upsets around college football. It's been a strange day already around the NFL today. What's going to happen here in Denver, Colorado? Teddy Ginn is waiting for it with Brandon McManus walking a little bit taller this week. The job's all his. Broncos cut Matt Prater prior to this game. Off we go. Glad you're with us. And as is typical, touchback, especially here in the mile-high altitude. And so now the Arizona offense, 24th ranked. They played game 1 with Carson Palmer. He got a hit from Eric Weddle. He has a nerve issue in his right shoulder. Talked to him before the game. I'll tell you what he said. He's feeling good. That's the Cliff Notes. And Drew Stanton is in there, and he's been pretty good.
Well, he has been good, Joe. The 2 times they've had to rely on him. Of course, he's won those games. And as I said, coming into this ball game, the best thing he has done is protect the football.
Handoff is to Ellington, who has been playing with a torn tendon in his left foot. They had the off week. That's got to help that situation. A gain of 2 for Andre Ellington, who was on that list of guys that Drew Stanton has to count on, along with Fitzgerald, who's been quiet. The guy on the end they love, John Brown, and Michael Floyd leads the league in yards per catch.
That's a pretty good group to have around you as a quarterback who hasn't really played a lot of football for as long as he's been in the league.
30 years old, only his 7th start. Here's a screen, and it is for the tight end. Carlson's got a big play on the second play from scrimmage. 14 yards and a first down for Arizona.
Well, it's set up very nicely. Of course, the Arizona Cardinals, they like to get the ball down the field. As a defense, you're worried about that. They run the screen play underneath. He's got linemen out in front of him blocking. It's a great way to start this game.
Ellington left side's got a little room. Lowers his shoulder, crosses the 40 by a couple of inches when he ran into Danny Trevathan. And Danny is on the list of guys they have back. It's his first game back. He missed the first 3. Did you know DeMarcus Ware was in Denver, Colorado? If you follow just the NFC, maybe you didn't know it. Longtime Dallas Cowboy. Terrence Knighton up front with him. And DeMarcus Ware still doing his thing, but doing it in thinner air. Second and 6. Pass caught. Fitzgerald. And for Larry, that's catch number 11 on the season. First of the day, a gain of 9 and a first down.
Thought it was interesting, Joe, when we had a chance to visit with Drew Stanton yesterday, and the fact that Carson Palmer went down early in the season and they were just coming out of training camp, it was really a blessing for Drew Stanton because he had gotten reps in camp, preseason. He played well in preseason, and he has stepped in and he's done a nice job in Carson's absence. And as you said, they got good news this week, and Carson is expected back sooner than what maybe originally thought.
12 men on defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Not been a good start for Jack Del Rio's defense. Yeah, I had a chance to visit with Carson, and you can just tell by his mood that he's being honest when he said he is feeling better. The shoulder feels better. He made some progress 2 weeks ago. He took a step back last week, but he's actually been in Denver, which is something that Jay Glazer reported on Fox NFL Sunday. Seeing the guy that helped not only Peyton Manning, but others who have been through nerve damage. And he believes he's got the right treatment plan and is close. Handoff on 1st and 5 to Andre Ellington. He gets 2, and let's go down to the field. And Aaron Andrews.
And Joe, just to add on what you were saying, and Carson going to the specialist here in Denver, as you mentioned, you spoke with him. He was out here before pregame warmups, throwing around a little bit, talking to the team orthopedist. He told me he's going to stay here today and tomorrow, work with the specialist a little more, and then hope during the week in Arizona he can get as many throws in as possible. Joe?
Can't wait to get him back. 2nd down and 3. Stanton's 2-0. Cardinals are 3-0. The pass is caught out on the edge by John Brown. Brought down by Talib. A gain of 2, 3rd and short coming up.
That was an outstanding tackle by Aqib Talib, another guy who was acquired in the offseason because they get the ball quickly into the hands of John Brown. He's very quick, explosive. They blocked it up well with Larry Fitzgerald. And Aqib had him one-on-one. He had to make a play, and he does.
3rd down. Pass caught. 1st down. That's the running back Ellington, and Andre Ellington out of bounds near the 25. Forced out by Chris Harris, a gain of 18 on 3rd and 1.
Well, they put Ellington in the backfield, and you see he runs the option route. It's zone coverage. He just hooks it up, drops the ball right to him, 3rd and short, and the excitement happens as soon as the ball gets in his hands. He's a dynamic player, and he runs routes. Bruce Arians says he runs routes better than any of the wide receivers. They haven't been able to utilize that as much because of the foot, but he's a special player.
Play clock at 4. Pass is caught. And wide open was Michael Floyd, and that's one he'd like to have back. Starting to make a move before he made the catch, and Floyd had some room to maneuver. There's John Fox. What's he done 4th year in Denver? He's won the AFC West the first 3 years. Had it rolling last year until once the calendar turned and the months turned to February, he got to New Jersey and then ran into a buzzsaw on the Seahawks. 2nd and 10. Stanton incomplete. Fitzgerald closest to it, and he was held. They throw a flag right in the spot where Stanton threw it, and Fitzgerald couldn't get to it, and it is against Denver.
Yeah, against T.J. Ward. The flag came in late. You see right there that there's the grab.
Number defense. Number 43 defense. Spotted the foul. 1st down.
There's a grab at the top of the route. Now, T.J. Ward is entitled to position on the field, and I think that's what the delay in the flag coming in was for, was whether or not he was in position before Fitzgerald got to that spot. But a costly penalty against Denver.
So instead of the hold, it goes as a pass interference, ball in the air, and the ball is placed at the 9. 1st and goal. Cardinals trying to make a statement on the opening drive. Carlson jumped.
False start. Number 89 offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
It's Bill Levy. Just in case you're wondering, in the new world order of the NFL and all the flags that have been flying, Levy is at the bottom of the group of referees who have been reaching for yellow during the first 4 weeks of the year. To see if that holds up here today. Moves the ball back to the 14. 1st and goal from there. Traffic, Ellington nothing. Lost a yard. Brought down by Terrence Knighton.
Boy, Terrence Knighton, you watch Denver play, and it just seems like every week he's making an impact play. He's a big body, and he moves exceptionally well. He was voted a defensive captain, and you mentioned DeMarcus Ware a little bit earlier. He's the other defensive captain on this team. It says a lot for the respect that he has in that locker room. Of course, captains are voted on by his peers.
You're our captain. Okay. Ellington split out wide to the left, top of your screen. On 2nd and goal. End zone passes, tipped, incomplete. 2 guys had a shot at it. The first guy was the tight end, Rob Hausler. Then Michael Floyd was right behind him.
It looks like Stan might have had an opportunity at this one. A ball that was just thrown a little behind him in a very difficult play to try to be made. But this is an area of the field where Arizona has had some problems being able to cash in with touchdowns.
One of the things Bruce Arians talked about, we need to stay on the field on third down, convert. We need to get in the red zone and score touchdowns. And now they're going to have to call a timeout. Arizona calls a timeout before a 3rd and goal from just outside the 15 early in Denver.
Lines. Without a heart, it's just a machine.
One of the tactics when you play Peyton Manning's team, keep him off the field. Been a 5.5-minute drive. 3rd down and goal. Selling out with a blitz. Pass is too high for Floyd. 4th down. There weren't many left deep for that Denver defense. They were all up at the line for the most part.
No, it was a good scheme there defensively by Jack Del Rio. They bring pressure inside, and then they bring T.J. Ward off the edge. So that's right where Stanton was moving with the pocket. He had to get rid of it a lot sooner than he wanted to. But to start this game, a good drive offensively by Arizona. 2 young kickers in this game. Here's Chandler Catanzaro, a rookie. He's 9 for 9. He's 10 for 10. From 33 yards. Not what Arians wanted. Into the red zone. Settling for 3. Now we'll see Mr. Manning next.
Sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
We're going to see Peyton Manning, who is sitting at 499 career touchdown passes. Only Favre got over 500 with 508. The numbers are better for Peyton Manning when you compare the two in those major categories. It's a windy day. It's going to be interesting to see how the ball reacts out of the hand of Peyton Manning. We know this, the ball reacts, it gets knocked off the tee. Going to be kind of a crosswind. If anything, he's going to be throwing into it, but kind of a cross away from the Arizona bench toward the Denver sideline, and it's blowing pretty good here in Denver.
Well, it is, and so Peyton, being the veteran that he is, he'll know that, and if he tries to throw any outside breaking routes to that direction, you know, he'll be real careful and make sure coverage is not tight, because the wind could very well be a factor on some of those throws.
Caldwell waiting for him, and he's still waiting. So here we go from the 20-yard line. Peyton Manning. Now this is a team, Troy, that was basically scoring 38 points a game a year ago. They had a better running game last year, and right now they're number 11 at 25 points per game. So they're really looking to get on track, and there's the counter. 499 for Peyton Manning as he will start in the shotgun to begin his day. This one to the sideline. Flag is thrown, and tapping the feet down for a catch, Demaryius Thomas. And they're waiting for their big receiver to kick it into gear. Flag on the coverage with Cromartie. And he got both feet in.
Foul for holding. 1st down, Denver.
They just pick it up.
Well, that was an outstanding throw by Peyton Manning. You got Antonio Cromartie, who's in coverage, and then you've got underneath coverage as well. You had to fit that ball in, and Peyton makes a beautiful throw to start this game.
No backs in the lineup right now for Denver. Demaryius Thomas good for 19 to start his day. Has been averaging 47 yards a game. Pass is caught. And that's Julius Thomas, the tight end, who's about as good as there is. Maybe even including the guy in New Orleans. That one good for 5. And here are some of the guys that Peyton Manning will look for downfield.
Well, of course, Wes Welker now back for his 2nd game. Demaryius Thomas has a nice catch to start the game. He has struggled through the first 3 weeks. Good to get him involved early.
Omaha!
I heard Omaha. Pass is out of the reach. of Thomas, and Manning, as he usually does, let it fly before Thomas got his head turned back around.
Well, what we're seeing right now, Joe, as you mentioned, they're going to the empty set formation, which is a little different than what they had shown to start games over the last 3 weeks. They have tried to establish the running game. They have not had much success. It's a very difficult defense to run the football against. They come out throwing the ball, and that's what you would expect.
Here they come with a blitz. Montee Ball in there to help protect. He's caught for a first down. And a beautiful little flip from Manning to Emmanuel Sanders. Good for 9.
They bring pressure. You can expect it on 3rd down. Montee Ball, he steps up. He protects the inside. They run the natural pick across the middle of the field versus man coverage, and just an outstanding job of execution there by Emmanuel Sanders.
A delayed handoff to Montee Ball. He's good for 2. Sam Acho made the stop. So who do you look at defensively for the 5th-ranked defense in the NFL? The Arizona Cardinals. Calais Campbell, and then those 2 big corners that they trust and really rely on to eventually get a pass rush.
I think in a lot of ways it's those corners that allow them to do so many things up front defensively, and it's one of the reasons why they're so good against the run, because they can man up on the outside.
Julius Thomas slow to get off the field. We'll take a break.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. By Pizza Hut's Bacon and Cheese Stuffed Crust. And by Target. Expect more, pay less.
Low 70s on a perfect day here in Denver.
Vegas! Hey, 25 is Will out. 25 is out. 22 is Sale. 22 is Sale. Right here, West. Omaha.
You can hear the wind hitting the mics. You can hear plenty of Peyton on 2nd and 8. Pass caught. Forced out of bounds by Gerard Powers, a gain of 7.
Joe, you go back and take a look at the injury to Julius Thomas. Sam Acho, the linebacker, he comes around. You see the leg whip there, and that does not look good. You hope that Julius Thomas is going to be all right. He's been a heck of a player.
He's in there now. So he took 1 play off, and he's back. That was ugly. 3rd and 1. Handoff for the first down. That's Montee Ball. Campbell on the stop, a gain of 3.
You know, Julius Thomas coming into this game, Joe, because of all the different looks that Arizona can give you, he's a guy that they think they can take advantage of, that they can split him out. In fact, now he's lined up outside at the wide receiver position, but they like the looks of this, and they feel like they can do some things with him in this ball game. Not that he's not always a part of everything that they do, but especially this week.
Here's Weldon, can't make the left-handed catch. 2nd and 10 coming up. Powers was there with Welker. Those two have been working against each other. Patrick Peterson typically will go with the top threat on the outside. Who's that for Denver? Is it Sanders? Is it Thomas? It's been Sanders to this point.
Yeah, Demaryius Thomas is an outstanding player. Emmanuel Sanders has impressed me with all that he's been able to do here in the early going for Denver.
Second and 10. There's Thomas. Perfect throw from Peyton Manning. Working on Cromartie, and a completion of 24.
Well, they swing Montee Ball out. They got one-on-one with Antonio Cromartie on Demaryius Thomas. He's able to get him behind me. Also had Wes Welker in the slot. And Peyton didn't see him, but a little bit easier throw to Welker, but he lays one up for Demaryius Thomas, and he's off to a great start today.
So they're inside the red zone. They've scored points every time they've been inside the red zone this season. And 44 of their last 44 trips in. Manning doesn't miss down here. Pass is low, but caught. Thomas staying inside the 10. When you're Peyton Manning, you've got 499 touchdown passes and are about to become the second guy ever. You get in the red zone, you know how to get it to that last 10-yard area.
Yeah, you know, and he's obviously been doing it, you know, knowing how to do that for a long time, and it's a lot of touchdowns. You know, Bruce Arians said, hey, I'll give him 1 in this game, but he needs 9 to tie Brett Favre. He said if he gets 9 and ties Favre, I'm not getting on the plane to head back to Arizona.
You may be serious on that. Manning keeps it, floats it, too far. It's only a matter of time who will catch number 500. This time, pass was intended for Demaryius Thomas. He's been a frequent target for Manning on this opening possession. For Denver, now it's 3rd and 5. Manning has 320 touchdowns in the red zone of his 499. Will this be history? Yes! Number 500, Thomas. And the 5-time MVP is the second quarterback in the history of the league to get to 500 touchdown passes. Congratulations to number 18.
Really nice route here by Julius Thomas, but the coverage wasn't all that bad. That ball's just perfectly placed. Julius Thomas is able to make a catch. You saw the shot there of Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator for Peyton in Indianapolis for 13 seasons. He's seen that up close so many times, and he sees it again here today.
It's the 6th of the year for Julius Thomas, and it's the 500th in the career of the league's only 5-time MVP and future Hall of Famer, Peyton Manning. Broncos up 4. Well, now a chance to go over and look at the pictures of that first possession for Peyton Manning. He's done it well since he came into the league in '98. He's done it with class and a great face for this league. How about number 500? This was no easy pitch and catch here.
No, it's Julius Thomas. He's running the out route. They clear on the outside. Tony Jefferson is in coverage, and he actually is in good coverage. The ball's just laid out to where only Julius Thomas can make a play, and you know, it was just a matter of time here today for him to come up with 500. He gets it on the first drive, and just a great job by Peyton and that Denver offense to start this game.
Thought you were going to forget to hit the button over there and get it up to 500. Good job. From the 20. Swallowed up is Ellington. Von Miller, who they really missed at the end of last season, especially in that Super Bowl. He was suspended the first 6 games, played 9, then tore his ACL.
Yeah, really, Joe, if you look at this defense and you take the guys who aren't any longer with the team and existing guys that had to change positions, 8 new starters defensively from the one that started in the Super Bowl against Seattle. A lot of changes.
They hung in there well against Seattle 2 weeks ago before their bye. Pass is incomplete as Stanton hit the deck. He lost his footing as he winged it toward Michael Floyd. It's 3rd and 12. There's Jack Del Rio, who took over for Dennis Allen, who was the previous defensive coordinator for the Broncos, who was fired this past week as head coach of the Raiders.
Well, Jack Del Rio, a former teammate of mine, had an outstanding playing career. Of course, the head coach for a number of years, having to face Peyton Manning all those years when he was the head coach at Jacksonville.
Blitz, 3rd down and 12. Wide open Fitzgerald. And a first down and a big one for Arizona. A completion from Drew Stanton for 33 yards on 3rd and 12.
Well, this is one of those shots down the field, and the reason that it's there is because Del Rio dials up the blitz. They bring Aqib Talib off the corner, and Ellington picks it up. He gives Stanton time, and then you've got Larry Fitzgerald down the field. That's a great job of getting out of a hole and coming up with a big play.
Season long for Fitzgerald, 33 yards. They'd love to get him more involved. Stanton. He's got his man off the hands of John Brown. He's their new home run hitter downfield, and the little guy could not pull it in. Good throw.
Really good throw. John Brown just couldn't quite make the adjustment. Stanton sees the safety. He doesn't want to lead him too much to the middle, so he leads him back over to his right side of the field. John Brown, guy runs 4.3 40. I mean, he can flat out fly. Just unable to quite make the play. But that's another one of those shots by Bruce Arians. He's always been known for that, going back to his days when he was the offensive coordinator at Pittsburgh. I don't think anybody takes more shots than the Cardinals do.
It's a fun offense to watch. Ellington runs into the gut of Trevathan. Gain of 3. Baseball tomorrow. Troy will be in front of the big screen, waiting for Game 3 of the Dodgers and the Cardinals in St. Louis. Hyun-Jin Ryu against John Lackey. It's why they got John Lackey from Boston at the deadline. Tomorrow at 9 Eastern p.m. on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Well, that was a tough one for the Dodgers the other night.
They came back and turned the tables last night. Series tied at a game apiece. Second timeout with the play clock winding down. We'll take a break too. Oh, come on. Really? Fred Aldis? Let's hear it for the boy. Awful. Fred Aldis works the sound you hear on your television. Best guy in the business across any NFL game. And listen to the crowd on 3rd and 7. And Stanton hung in there, and he got pounded after letting that ball go. He's tough.
Well, he had to be on this play, Joe. He hangs in the pocket. Malik Jackson was the one who came right up the middle. He held it as long as he could and put the ball up. Just good job of concentration there by Larry Fitzgerald on the other end of this throw to be able to pick up that first down and keep this drive going.
The numbers that Fitzgerald's piling up. Directs him straight to Canton when he hangs it up. On first down, off the hands of Ginn. Larry Fitzgerald made the catch on 3rd down and 7. They had to call a timeout. Fitzgerald was confused. And when he came back to the sideline, his head coach, Bruce Arians, let him have it.
Yeah, he gave him an earful, as you're going to see at the end of this. And, you know, that's one of the things that these players really appreciate about Bruce Arians. I'm not so sure Fitzgerald did right there, but he's very honest. And even going back to camp last year, he treats all these guys, I don't want to say he treats them the same, but he holds them all accountable. And you can tell he was unhappy with Fitzgerald, but he came back and makes a play on 3rd down.
They fake it to Taylor, floated toward the end zone, and broken up. Good coverage downfield. Pass was intended for Michael Floyd with a coverage by Chris Harris, and he was in better position than Floyd.
He had another one of those shots down the field. And, you know, Drew Stanton was with Bruce Arians when he was at Indianapolis, when he took over as the interim head coach. And when he got the job here in Arizona, he brought Drew Stanton with him. So even though he hasn't played a lot of football, for a guy who's been in the league as long as he has, he knows this offense and he knows where to go with the ball.
3rd down and 10. Just got it away. And maybe they didn't. Flag in the area for delay of game, and let's see if that's what they got. Back judge comes up and speaks with Levy. Watch the play clock in the background.
Arizona called timeout prior to the play clock expiring. Timeout Arizona. Their final charge, timeout.
So they just haven't been able to get into a position, Arizona, to get on a roll offensively. They got down into the red zone the first time, had to kick the field goal, and now they're having a tough time getting plays away. And so you can see John Fox not happy. Instead of a 3rd and 15, it'll remain 3rd and 10, but out of timeouts for the Arizona Cardinals. But I like what the Cardinals are doing so far.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, they're having some success moving the football, but as Bruce Arians told us yesterday, they've got to be able to come away with touchdowns when they get down to this part of the field, because Denver sure made it look easy. And as good as this defense is and as capable as they are of covering people, you know, this offense is explosive. So you've got to believe Denver's going to put points on the board.
So, little side note to this, because Arizona's out of timeouts, they can't challenge a play the rest of the first half. So they have their challenges, but you have to have a timeout, which is the punishment if you are not rewarded with a reversal. 3rd down and 10. Blitz. Stanton hangs in. Pass is broken up. Intended for John Brown. Broken up by the rookie and 1st-round pick Bradley Roby.
Well, you see the stack here by Arizona. 3 wide receivers, so you don't get the jam on them, and they go man coverage. Denver does. He has a chance if he's able to lay that ball more towards the sideline. Contact before the ball arrives.
That's why Arians is hot. You could see the contact by Roby and the outstretched arms of John Brown, but no call. 48-yard try. The rookie, they found one in Arizona. He's now 11 for 11. It's a 1-point game. Here in Denver, minute 41 left, first quarter. It took overtime. But Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints get a victory. 35 of 57, 371 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So the Saints have stumbled out of the gate. Cam Newton in a come-from-behind effort in a win by Carolina over Chicago. And it's special teams again for Philadelphia, because after piling up a 34-7 lead on St. Louis, the Rams had the ball down by 6 with a chance to win it at the end of the game.
Well, what the Eagles have done on special teams the last 3 weeks has been incredible. You know, to have touchdowns in each of the last 3 games is a great job by that special teams unit.
Out of the back of the end zone, so drive number 2 will start at the 20. Talked a lot about Bruce Arians. He's had some ride. The flowing locks of hair is the quarterback for Virginia Tech in the early 70s. First head coaching job at Temple. He was 30 when he got that. NFL assistant coaching career, stops in Pittsburgh, Indy. And what he did in Indianapolis, he was only there a year, was the offensive coordinator, then took over. By the way, that's all the same guy. There's 3 pictures of Bruce Arians. He took over, Arians did, for Chuck Pagano in 2012. And he won the AP NFL Coach of the Year for what he did. Andrew Luck had a lot to do with it, but he ended up getting him in the playoffs, stepping in for Pagano, and then that emotional return by Pagano, and he got this Arizona job off what he did with Indianapolis.
Yeah, he had resigned himself to the fact that he would never get an opportunity to be a head coach in this league, and it was an unfortunate situation for Chuck Pagano that afforded him the opportunity to show what he was capable of doing. Did a great job with a rookie quarterback and Andrew Luck, and he's been outstanding here in the desert.
Arians turned 62 on Friday. This one, after a completion to Sanders, is incomplete for Sanders. 3rd down coming up. 3rd and 4.
I talked a little bit earlier, Joe, about this Denver offense and the fact that they've been trying to run the ball through the first 3 games of the season. And you know, Adam Gase, their offensive coordinator, he said they got exposed in that Super Bowl against Seattle, and they didn't have an answer for what Seattle was doing against them.
Pass caught ball, and he is tripped up short of the line to gain. And it's Powers who's been busy with a nice tackle to force a punt. Gerard Powers, he's been active.
Well, and then trying to make a tackle like that on Monte Ball, I mean, he was close to picking up the 1st down, and they come up with a key stop. So to get off the field against this Denver offense that on their prior possession went down and came away with a touchdown, that's a That's a good job defensively by the Cardinals.
Britton Colquitt will punt. Gets to punt in this higher altitude. Getting away from it, I think wisely, was Ted Ginn Jr. It takes a nice Denver bounce and hops out of bounds. They're going to mark it at the 16.5. On Fox tonight, Sunday Fun Day. All new episodes of your favorite comedies, all leading to the season premiere of Mulaney. Starts tonight, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, here on Fox.
You talk about the job that Bruce Arians has done, and last year there was a 10-win team. It was one of those things that happens every now and then. You win 10 games, and yet it's not enough to get into the postseason. So this Cardinals team obviously off to a great start here this year, but they finished up strong last year too.
Since week 8 of last year, they've gone 10-2. Best record in the NFL, and they've survived some injuries, especially defensively. We'll get into that next time they're out there defending Manning, a gain of 1 by Andre Ellington. That's it for quarter number 1. It is October 5th. It's a gorgeous day in Denver. We've already seen history from Peyton Manning. We're also seeing a good game. Back after this from your local Fox station. What did you see at practice, Troy, with Peyton Manning?
Well, I saw a lot of what I always see when I watch a Peyton Manning-led offense, and it's essentially him running the practice. I've never seen a quarterback do more at a Friday practice than Peyton Manning.
2nd and 9. Handoff is to Ellington. Almost broke free. 3rd down coming up after a gain of 6. The NFC West has a different feel to it. There's all that unrest out in San Francisco. Jay Glazer saying even if they win the Super Bowl, said this on Fox NFL Sunday, Jim Harbaugh is not coming back. That remains to be seen, but that's from Jay. Seattle, they play tomorrow. Arizona's on top.
Well, it's such a tough division. It wasn't that many years ago where it was probably the weakest division in football, but well, they've got some strong defenses, and the Denver Broncos have had to face them.
Fitzgerald had it, lost it, no catch. And that was knocked out by Chris Harris. And it's the work of Harris that spoils an Arizona 1st down.
That's a good throw by Drew Stanton, and one that you don't see Larry Fitzgerald not bring in very often. But right at the last minute, Chris Harris is able to knock it out. But typically Fitzgerald, when he goes up and makes a play on the ball, he's so physical with the catch that you're not going to knock it out quite that easily. But a good job by Harris.
Astudillo, first week back, the left footer just got it away. Here's Burse, and the rookie doing all he can, crosses the 40. Broncos have not had much success returning punts so far this season. Burse came in with an average of 3.8. That's going to bring his average down. It was 3. Peyton's first touchdown pass today was number 500. Here's number 1 to Marvin Harrison. Who else? In his NFL debut while playing against Miami in September of '98.
Talked to him on Friday, asked him if he remembered his first touchdown pass, and he called. He said, yeah, threw a fade route to Marvin Harrison, and a lot of those 500 touchdown passes were fade routes to Marvin Harrison.
And 112 touchdown passes for Harrison overall, which is the #1 duo in NFL history. Peyton Manning to Marvin Harrison. And they're the milestones if you go by the 100s. Harrison, then Wayne, then Adai, Demaryius Thomas. So in this short time, he's over 100 passes here with the Broncos, talking about Manning.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that last night when it was showed in our meeting room. And I guess when you have 55 touchdowns in one season, that helps.
That's a big leap forward. Broncos scored 606 points a year ago. NFL record. He's picked. Intercepted. And there's Powers again. Gerard Powers has got his 2nd of the season as he stepped in front of Wes Welker.
That was that throw, though, to that direction, Joe, that we talked about, that if the wind may affect it. I don't know if that's the case here. But a ball that was thrown behind.
First turnover of the day. It belongs to Arizona.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and the first ever MKC. By Visa Checkout, the easier way to pay online. And by Corona, who invites you to find your beach.
The wind has died down a little bit since our unofficial guide of the officials' pants and how they were reacting in the breeze earlier in the day compared to now. But it's whipping down there, and Manning just threw a pick going right into the wind. Pass caught wide open. Ellington, he's to the 40. Let's go back to the interception by Powers.
Well, Gerard Powers is in good coverage. They're trying to get the ball to Wes Welker. A little pressure, he's got to slide, so then you got to drive the ball to the outside. I don't know if the ball just got away from him, if the wind was a factor, but a ball thrown behind versus man coverage. Powers is able to turn and make a play on this ball, picks it up much like a receiver would. That's just an outstanding job on his part and a good job defensively. They forced the punt. The previous possession, they get the turnover, setting up their offense with good field position.
First down at the 40. They fake an end around. They hand it off to Ellington, who over the right side gets two. Off to Kurt we go with a game break.
A lot of comebacks around the NFL today. A big one by the Saints. They were down 24-13 before sending it to overtime and then winning it on Kyrie Robinson's 18-yard jaunt. 37-31. They knock off the Bucs for their 10th straight home win. Joe Troy and Eric.
Yeah, they don't lose in the Dome very much, Curtin. As you look at the NFC South, you see Carolina with a win today over Chicago, the only team over 500. Second and 8. Here's Ginn. Well played. Talib up to make the hit. I know you visited with Aqib. He was shocked that he wasn't brought back to the New England Patriots.
Yeah, he thought he was going to be signed. In fact, even the Broncos, they had planned on signing their own corner, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. Price got too high. They decided to let him go, and Aqib Talib was available, and they make a nice trade-off. They lose DRC. They bring Aqib Talib in. We saw him last year against the New Orleans Saints and Jimmy Graham. I thought it was as good a corner play as I've seen in a long time in that game.
Third down and 9. Down he goes. And the sack off the edge, Von Miller. That was a freight train that wasn't going to be stopped or slowed down.
Well, Von Miller gets a great jump on Bobby Massey, and so he's able to get the edge. Comes around and then gets Drew Stanton in the pocket. They needed a defensive play with great field position that the Cardinals had, and they get it from Von Miller.
3 trips now into Denver territory for the Cardinals. They have 6 points. They can't keep it out. That was Jerron Brown who whiffed on it. How about Von Miller? 44 games played in the NFL. He's got 38 sacks. His last one stopped that last drive. Talked about this Arizona defense. They're without 3 key pieces and have been all year. Ronnie Hillman in the backfield. Pass is broken up. Demaryius Thomas was the target. Antonio Cromartie was there for Arizona.
Well, good coverage on the outside. There's a little grabbing going on, some contact. I think it was a good non-call. And you talk about this Arizona defense, Joe, and because they've lost so many players, Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator, has had to rely on more of play from his safeties. 3 safeties on the field now. He at times will implore 4.
Manning doesn't want to run it. Going to throw it. Little shove at the end of that, and that's going to be offensive pass interference on Sanders. Gerard Powers was back there again. He's already got a pick, and Sanders shoved him right in the back.
He's just trying to help break up the play. He was more defensive back there than he was
interference. Number
receiver.
10 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
I talked a little bit earlier about Emmanuel Sanders and the job that he's done, and Peyton Manning and him really developed some chemistry right away. I mean, you watch Peyton throw the ball to this guy. The ball comes out with great anticipation. He runs excellent routes. and he's been phenomenal through the first 3 weeks of the season. He's averaging over 100 yards a game receiving. Had a big game 2 weeks ago against Seattle. He's been very impressive. They tried taking another shot there, but just good coverage by Powers.
Only run it 3 times have the Broncos. Arizona number 4 in the league against the run. On second downs, pass is behind but caught, and there's Sanders. Manuel good for 13 to make it a little better on third down.
Well, you talk about the fact they haven't run the ball much in this game, Joe, and to go back to what I was saying earlier, Adam Gase really felt like they got exposed against Seattle in that Super Bowl, that once they were able to stop their 3 wide receiver offense, they had no answers for him. And they had to develop something with their 2 tight end and 3 tight end packages so that if their wide receiver package got stopped, they had some answers. That's really what they had focused on through the first 3 games of this season. But they don't want to beat their head against the wall trying to run the ball against this group.
Here's a blitz. Bulls loves to blitz. Pass caught. There's Sanders again, and he had to reach, stretch. They're letting this play go. This is a touchdown, at least for the moment. It looked like he got shoved down, but as of the moment, it's a touchdown, and let's look. Way behind Peterson. Does anybody get him? Yes. I mean, Peterson comes up and shoves him in the back. Was his knee up off the ground when that happened?
Yeah, it looked to me like he was back on his feet.
Yeah.
Before he gets touched, that's going to be the question.
We usually see this in the reverse. Was the knee up? First of all, I think it looks like a clean catch to the ground. That's another part of this. It's a touchdown, so they'll look at it. And then was his knee up when the hands of Peterson hit him in the back? If his knee's up, it's a touchdown. If his knee is still down, which I think it is, there will be no touchdown. We'll get the call when we come back.
This game is sponsored by The Judge from Warner Brothers Pictures in theaters October 10th.
During the play, the receiver was down when he was contacted by the Arizona defender. The ball will be placed at the Arizona 47-yard line, 1st and 10, Denver.
So instead of a 77-yard touchdown, it's overturned. It's a 30-yard catch by Sanders at the Arizona 47. And here's the confusion prior to the snap.
Well, there's confusion prior to the snap, and even when the play was in motion, it seemed like Arizona kind of stopped on the play before Sanders even caught the ball. It was just a strange set of circumstances that happened both prior to the snap and then when the ball was in play, and they're fortunate that that one was not a touchdown.
This is the 3rd year that they have gone to reviewing every scoring play, and that's good news for Arizona because they're out of challenges. At least cannot challenge because they don't have any timeouts. Meanwhile, it was Deone Bucannon, number 36. You'll see him sprint off the field, the rookie, first-round pick out of Washington State that started the play and then almost catching the defense napping for a long touchdown. Instead, it's just a long completion of 30. Second and 7. Pass is caught. Welker. First down. Forced down at the 30, good for 14 yards.
Yeah, tell me this guy doesn't make a difference for an offense. He's as good as there is, and as good really as there has ever been, playing that slot position and giving his quarterback a place to go with the football. Just an outstanding route, creates tremendous separation. Easy pitch and catch for Peyton and Welker.
It was no coincidence that Demaryius Thomas got off to a slow start because he was in the slot early. Now he gets to go back outside. As Ball tries the left side, and you can see why these Cardinals are so good against the run as the safety, the rookie. Buchanan came up to make the play.
Yeah, I really like what I've seen of Buchanan here in his rookie season, just his 4th game, and they use him in the linebacker position, and he's a physical player considering that he's a defensive back. I mean, he gets in there, he takes on offensive linemen, he shoots the gap as he did there, and he's done a nice job here in the early going of his first year.
Cardinals hanging in there with Peyton Manning in this Denver offense. Now Hillman to the left of Manning on 2nd and 11. They back out of the blitz. Thomas makes the catch. You're not going to stop him. Touchdown. Number 501. "31 yards, and he shoved Larry Foote to clear his path to the end zone."
Yeah, Larry Foote was the only one who really had an opportunity to try to make a play on Demaryius Thomas. He initially is showing that he's going to come up on the blitz, but he pulls out, and he's there to then make a play on the slant route to Demaryius Thomas. He just fails to make a tackle.
And it's a 14-6 game. You hold them down, you hold them down, you hold them down, and then they strike, and they strike quick. Thomas, 31 yards, 14-6. Broncos on top. Demaryius Thomas, they've been waiting for him to kind of kick it into gear, and that seems to be happening. 31 yards for his 2nd touchdown of the season. First one to Julius Thomas, next one to Demaryius Thomas, and another touchback for the first-year kicker McManus.
Well, Demaryius Thomas, he's a big physical receiver, just a quick slant versus man coverage. He's able to get away from Cromartie, and then he takes it all the way into the end zone, and then he does the old Lambeau leap, and he gets a little wet. But the thing that Demaryius Thomas, as you talked about, Joe, through the first few weeks of the season, he was having to play a little bit more of the slot position, and I know the coaches really felt that it kind of bogged him down a little bit, and they felt that he would have a good game coming into this game because he was just focusing on doing the things that he does.
Pass is caught. Carlson, the tight end, and man, did he get hit. Brandon Marshall, who was the starter in place of the injured Trevathan for the first 3 games. Saturday, 2 of the nation's top quarterbacks collide to Pac-12 showdown. Marcus Mariota, how good is he? And the Oregon Ducks take on Brett Hundley and the UCLA Bruins. Coverage begins 3 Eastern only on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. That is this coming Saturday.
A lot of upsets, as you said, in college football yesterday. Unfortunately, one of them was to UCLA.
Here's Ellington. 5 of the top 8 teams lost yesterday across college football. UCLA lost late last night to Utah, 30-28. There's Stanton. His partner in crime in the quarterback room, Carson Palmer, said, when I met him, I walked in the quarterback room and I just pointed guys and I say, if you don't have your own nickname in 3 seconds, I'm giving it to you. And he pointed to Stanton, and Stanton was like, what? And he said, Nighthawk. You're Nighthawk.
Nighthawk.
3rd down and 1. And the handoff is to Hughes, trying to fight for the first down, and he came up short by inches. It's 4th down.
Well, Bruce Arians is taking a hard look at this, but that defensive front for Denver, they're a big group. Big guys inside. They just got no movement there in the middle. Arizona unable to pick up a 3rd and short. That's a big time stop by Denver.
So now 4th down and less than half a yard. Zastudil, who's been bothered by a bad groin, hits it. It's Burse. One of his better ones of the season. The rookie, after a 44-yard punt, has a 10-yard return. And there's an injury to one of the Cardinals. So they check on the player. We'll try to get a number. How about the Dallas Cowboys? They had that come from behind win a couple of weeks ago in St. Louis, down by 21. They were forced into overtime, missed a kick at the end of regulation today that would have won it. But look at some of these numbers, and Romo, one of his bigger days. They haven't had to rely on Romo so much this year.
Well, no, I mean, you see the big three right here in the day that they've had. DeMarco Murray's off to an unbelievable start to this season in a contract year, leads the league in rushing. Really, the group that hasn't been talked enough about has been the defense. They've been really good, and not a lot was expected of that unit coming into the year. But here the Cowboys are 4-1. Now they've got a tough road game next week at Seattle, but they have surprised people with the start that they've had this year.
It's Justin Bethel who is down for Arizona. Here's a good-looking play that doesn't do much. A flag is thrown as Sanders made the catch. Short gain of 2. But a flag flies out of the defensive backfield.
Pass interference, number 88, offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Second offensive pass interference called in this first half against Denver. It's Demaryius Thomas.
It's interesting because if this pass was behind, he's engaged in Cromartie before Emmanuel Sanders gets the ball, but it looked like the ball may have been a backward pass, and if that's the case, then it's a running play and it shouldn't have been called. I'll tell you, Emmanuel Sanders, in talking to Peyton Manning, as active as he's been, he said we're still finding ways to get the ball into his hands because he's so explosive. We've seen that on a variety of plays here in this first half.
Pass dropped in and out of the hands of Demaryius Thomas. Second and 20 coming up. So when we talk about the injuries for the Arizona Cardinals defensively, first of all, they lost their inside linebacker Darrell Washington to a suspension for the year. They lost Darnell Dockett to a knee, and pass rush specialist John Abraham, who had 11.5 sacks last year, he's out because of lingering issues with concussions.
Yeah, I mean, Todd Bowles he's done a great job of finding creative ways. As I mentioned, a lot of the ways he's doing it now is with safeties, but they're still a top 5 team.
This is picked up. Back the other way, Campbell. Campbell makes a move down to the 5. A flag is thrown. Peyton Manning made the tackle as they were trying to set up a screen. And a kid who grew up in Aurora, Colorado, Calais Campbell, almost had a touchdown against the team he grew up idolizing. What a moment that would have been.
A low block, first down Arizona.
Well, Calais Campbell works up the field, but then he sees that they're trying to get the screen in behind him, and rather than continuing to rush upfield, he just reads Peyton Manning. He falls back underneath this throw. That's a great job by Calais Campbell,
a former tight end in a Denver suburb. Grew up idolizing Shannon Sharpe. That would make Shannon proud. Senior year, he had 4 touchdowns as a tight end. He showed his hands. Peyton Manning saved a touchdown as he brought down Campbell. Here's Ellington. And just like that, a touchdown. He went around Talib. And Andre Ellington good from 5 yards out. And what a turnaround that is.
That's a great job by the Cardinals offensively of capitalizing on the great field position and the turnover. You see the job that this offensive line does, but Ellington sets it up beautifully. He's one-on-one on the safety, and he's able to make, or excuse me, it was to leave the corner, but he does an outstanding job of making that guy miss.
First of the year for Ellington. That had to feel good. A guy who's played tough through the torn tendon in his left foot. And he's got his first touchdown.
Yeah, Michael Floyd, he also with a big block that springs him. Well, that was a big turnaround there off the turnover for this Arizona team.
Terrence Knighton is slow to get off the field, but he's fine. So he's to the sideline. Catanzaro's in to make this a 1-point game with under 5 to go first half. Arizona's hung in there. They've been waiting for mistakes, and while Peyton's thrown 2 touchdowns, he just threw his second pick that led to 7 points.
Well, there's Calais Campbell. He's the defensive end. And you're going to see the job that he does of getting up the field. He's trying to rush the passer, but then he recognizes they're throwing the screen in behind him. That's just a guy making a play and recognizing what an offense is trying to do. And then, as you mentioned, I mean, he's got some ball skills. He played the position tight end, and he comes back and he makes the catch. Oftentimes, that's the hardest thing to do for these big guys, but what a big play for this Arizona team.
How about this? Denver came in having given the ball away only twice, and the opponents had come up with only 6 points off those 2 giveaways. They get 7 here off the second pick by the Arizona defense against Peyton Manning. And just some more about Calais Campbell, who, along with idolizing Shannon Sharpe, idolized and who didn't in the area at the time, Terrell Davis, the running back, and then studied a lot of film of Neil Smith, the former Kansas City Chief and then Denver Bronco. He's a big guy like Neil, 6'8", 300. And he's an athlete.
Yeah, coming off a career year last year, had 9 sacks.
How about this game? 14-13, under 5 to go first half. Next week, America's game of the week will be the red-hot Dallas Cowboys at the Seahawks. That's late. The other matchups, good games. Packers, Dolphins, Patriots, Bills, Panthers, Bengals, Lions, and the Vikings, Bears and Falcons. And these Cardinals will host Washington. Here's the NFC East. All that starts next week with a Fox NFL kickoff show at 11 a.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1, followed by Fox NFL Sunday at noon Eastern on Fox. Monte Ball bottled up in the backfield as he lost 2.5. And this crowd's getting frustrated. First guy there was Matt Shaughnessy.
And Matt Shaughnessy does an outstanding job on that play, and look at the job that he does here on the outside and just beats his man immediately. Monte Ball, they're trying to run the stretch play to Shaughnessy's side, got no chance at all.
Vegas!
Manning chase. Is caught on the sideline, and a brilliant catch by Sanders. And I think we're seeing firsthand who's becoming Peyton Manning's favorite target.
Yeah, he's been quite an acquisition. You see the route running ability there, how he can change directions as quickly as he does. And Peyton Manning, that's about as much movement as you're going to see out of him. But he's able to at least slide to his left, and he delivers the ball right on the money.
3rd down and 1. First down carry for Monte Ball, but a flag is down. Looks like it may be a hold.
Holding, number 74 offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
You get Orlando Franklin, who is the former right tackle. They moved him inside because they tried to get a little more physical, a little bigger on the interior of this offensive line.
Yeah, again, it goes back to what happened in the Super Bowl. I mean, you think about the influence that game had on this organization. Orlando Franklin moves inside because they realize, hey, we need a bigger anchor in the middle, and we can't have people take advantage of us inside. And that's why he's made the transition then to the left guard position.
He got his arm around the neck of Dayon Buchanan. Good call for the hold. 3rd and 11. Big down here for Denver. Pass is caught. Long way to go. Ball won't get there. Matthew was the first guy there. Martin was there as well. And Larry Foote had to clean up. A gain of 9. It's 4th down. And here's Arizona about to get it back. No timeouts, down by 1.
Well, still with over 2 minutes to play. Plenty of time, even without the timeouts to work.
Again with a fair catch after a 39-yarder. And Drew Stanton, named Nighthawk by Carson Palmer, was a 2nd-round draft pick by Detroit back in 07. He made 4 starts in Detroit. Was 2-2. Over 1,300 days between NFL starts. He took over in a game for the Cardinals at the Giants. He's 2-0, and he's got his team in the ball game here in Denver.
Yeah, I said it coming in, Joe. The thing that he's done a great job of is protecting the football. He didn't have an interception either in the preseason, but he's capable of throwing some interceptions. You know, and when he's been the starter in some of those other places, not many starts, he has thrown interceptions, but that has not been the case with Arizona.
Out to his right, he throws it away, and if he's in the pocket, that should be a flag. Was he outside of it? DeMarcus Ware was breathing down his neck, and they will throw no flag. It's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, the ball was on the left hash, or excuse me, it's in the middle. So essentially, if you're able to get outside of the hash marks, they're going to give you some leeway on that. Try to protect these quarterbacks as much as they can, but that was close.
There's Carson Palmer. Nerve issue in his throwing shoulder. 2nd and 10. Stephon Taylor, delayed handoff. Makes a move, gets a couple of extra yards. He came up. Raheem Moore, a gain of 6.
Well, right now Arizona's, you know, you want to go down and get points of your own, but you got to be real careful about giving the ball back to Peyton Manning with all 3 of his timeouts left.
So that means a big 3rd down's coming up on the other side of the 2-minute warning. Arizona with the ball, trailing Manning and the Broncos by 1. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Crowd into it on 3rd down and 4. Just 3 men on the rush. Pass dropped. Wide open and dropped by John Brown. The rookie found a spot, just could not make the catch.
Yeah, Denver looked like they were going to try to maybe bring some pressure. You said it, Joe. They only brought 3 guys on the pass rush, and there's the hole within that defense. And Stanton throws a nice ball, and one that Brown certainly should have caught to keep this drive alive. And now they give the ball back to Manning with plenty of time.
And 3 timeouts. Burse hauls it in inside the 15-yard line. They'll mark him at the 14-yard line. What's coming up at halftime, Kurt?
Thanks, Joe. Coming up on the Visa halftime, Brian Hoyer and the Browns complete the largest comeback in franchise history. The Panthers get off the snide against the Bears, and 2 overtime nail-biters in New Orleans and Dallas. We'll catch up on all of today's action at the half.
Yeah, after a fun college football day, certainly an interesting, fun day in Week 5, including this one. Minute 48 to go.
Hey, 25! 25! 50! 50! Hey! Go!
86 yards to go for Peyton Manning, and that's a big chunk of it. Might be all of it. Down the sideline. One pass, touchdown. Demaryius Thomas.
Antonio Cromartie is in man-to-man coverage, and as he turns to try to locate the ball, Peyton Manning lays this ball out beautifully, but that then creates some of the separation. Demaryius Thomas right up the sidelines, and this has been an offense that has not had the big plays in the passing game that we've grown accustomed to seeing with a Peyton Manning-led offense. But that was a huge play right there, right before the end of this half.
86 yards. With the extra point coming, this to make it an 8-point game again. Well, that drive didn't take long. The only question was how long would it take Demaryius Thomas to run 86 yards? The answer, 11 seconds.
Well, when you come up, Joe, as the Arizona Cardinals like to do, they've got outstanding corners. Cromartie is a 3-time Pro Bowl player. He's made each of the last 2 Pro Bowls. And when you lock up like this man-to-man, you're going to at times give up some big plays. And Demaryius Thomas, who, as we've talked about, just got off to a slow start, but it's just a matter of time before he's going to get going. He's too good of a player. He's too explosive to hold down for very long, and he has been outstanding here in this first half.
More yards and 5 catches today than he had over the first 3 games. Coming off a bye, at 141 yards on 13 catches, 1 touchdown in 3 games. As you said, Wes Welker coming back really spreads out a defense, and now here today. How about the effort? With 5 catches, 165, 2 touchdowns, and a long of 86. Ted Ginn waiting for the kick. Now there's time for Arizona to do something, albeit with no timeouts. They start at 20.
You know, it was an outstanding route by Demaryius Thomas. Good protection inside. You know, nothing in the middle in Peyton's face, but this ball is placed beautifully, knowing that you've got the one-on-one look. And then it's just a matter of, you said, Joe, is how long is it going to take him to get into the end zone?
Rashad Johnson couldn't catch up. So now we'll see what Stanton can do. He's made some good throws. Had a couple drops on him so far. And this isn't a good throw. Too high for Ellington. And when Cromartie got back over to the bench, somebody's going to have to put the ear pads back into his helmet. That's a job for Mark Allmeyer, the longtime equipment manager of the Arizona Cardinals.
Well, you go back to the 3rd down drop by John Brown. You know, he makes that catch. The Cardinals are able to keep the ball, and you know, maybe it's an entirely different look than the one we have right now.
2nd and 10. Here's a near pick. Gliding in there was Harris, as he almost snatched it away from John Brown.
Yeah, Drew Stanton is very fortunate that that was not intercepted, because Chris Harris really baited him. He's watching the quarterback. Stanton thinks he's got man coverage on the outside. The corner's going to continue to run with Floyd, but instead they call that a trap defense. He shows man, he comes off of it, he's there to make a play, and generally those balls are intercepted.
That touchdown tied a career long for Manning. Meanwhile, he's about to get it back if the Cardinals don't do anything with this. 3rd down and 10. Pass is caught but short of the 1st down. It's Michael Floyd who's been quiet, and it's Aqib Talib who has shut him down. And the punt coming. I know the percentage is virtually, it is 0. But you know when you're Bruce Arians and you don't get the 1st down on 3rd and 10, no matter where you are on the field, with what Manning can do with 3 timeouts, maybe a 1% chance you think about trying for it. He does have a good defense. Flag is down. Now another. And Burse gets to the sideline. Gets a block. Cuts back. Knocked down inside the 40. And as far as net yardage, after a 37-yard return, there's not much of a gain, and it's a penalty against Arizona. And now the net gain is going to be basically nothing.
Well, to answer your question, if Bruce Arians was a fortune teller,
right,
you know,
which I think he may be. There's a flag down on the far side
there
as
was
well.
An additional foul holding by the receiving team, number 36, during the kick. Denver has the option of replaying the down or having their penalty enforced. We'll check.
Well, that's going to make Bruce Arians wonder why Denver gets a pick of what to do with 2 fouls on the play, 1 against each side. I mean, Mike Pereira is going to join us from Los
Denver
Angeles.
Is elected to replay the down, 4th down.
Denver's going to replay the down. Mike Pereira, will you please make sense of this?
I'll tell you why, Joe. It's because Denver got the ball with what you call clean hands. They had not fouled before the change of possession. So then since the foul occurred on the run afterwards, they get the choice on the kick play to offset the penalty, or they can keep the ball and be penalized for there. Obviously, they're going to choose the offset.
Yeah, but the other part of it is they got a big return from Burse, and now by making him re-kick, Burse has got to try and do it again. And he's out of bounds at the 31-yard line. That's the part I don't get.
Well, not only do you have to do it again, but then you're dealing with time on the clock. You know, more time comes off the clock, less time for Peyton Manning to work. Yeah, so I don't agree with John Fox's decision on that one.
The ball was going to be inside the 40 of Arizona, and now after the re-kick, the ball is back at the Denver 31 with under a minute to go and 3 timeouts.
Now, Bruce Arians just hoping to get out of this half down no more than 8 points.
Mike's going to jump back in and clear it up. Please put my mind at ease. After this play, first down from the 31. Manning, pass incomplete. That gives us a chance to have you clean this thing up, Mike Pereira.
Okay, here you go. So since Denver got the ball and hadn't fouled before they get the ball, then they had the choice to keep the ball if they wanted to, but be penalized for their holding penalty, which would have taken it back from the spot of the hold back toward the goal line. So that's why they chose to offset it. They would not get the return.
Perfect. You're like one of the great closers in the game.
Now, why didn't he just say that to begin with?
Yeah. That's why we have Mike Pereira. We're not smart enough to figure any of this out. That's not going to sit well with the crowd. Ronnie Hillman loses one. When you start bringing in clean hands and how you got the ball and where you have to enforce it, that's why. So good to have Mike to clear that up. And it basically, because of the hold on Denver, erased that big return by Burse. And Denver right now looks content to only lead by 8. Blitz. Manning throws. Welker the catch, but he's short. Arizona without a timeout, and that's the way this first half will end. An 8-point game. And even with the 2 touchdowns to Demaryius Thomas, 1 to Julius Thomas, 2 interceptions, and the Cardinals are right in it in a 1-score game. It's 21-13 at the end of an entertaining half here in Week 5. We'll step aside. Kurt Menefee and the guys for the Visa halftime starts right now. Second half about to get underway, and it will be the offense of the Denver Broncos against the defense of the Arizona Cardinals. Today's excitement is brought to you by Nissan. Peyton Manning, 3 touchdown passes at 5:02 for his career. The all-time record holder, Brett Favre, at 5:08. So he's gaining on him. Favre with over 71,000 passing yards. Peyton Manning closing in on 66,000. And with that kickoff out of the back of the end zone, we send it down to Erin Andrews.
Joe, thanks. Let's talk a little offense for both of these clubs. Since Denver's taking the field first, talking to John Fox coming out, he said, yes, it's nice to have Demaryius Thomas back. We weren't really too worried about it. I said, are you worried about the running game? The crowd seems to be. And he said, well, I don't know. We're going to still try here in the second half and see what we can do. As for the Cardinals, Bruce Arians says someone needs to catch the ball and help Drew Stanton out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He's had some drops. He's thrown some good passes. He's did in that first half and showed how tough he is hanging in.
20.
On first down, Manning is tripped up. That'll be the first sack of the day, and it's Frosty Rucker who got his hand on, I believe, the right foot or leg of Peyton Manning.
No, it's an excellent job by Frosty Rucker being able to get that inside pressure that we've talked about. He's in the middle of the screen, and he gets up the field and then gets just enough of Peyton Manning. But to go back to Erin Andrews' report, I mean, the Broncos, what they have 4 yards rushing there in the first half, but a big half by Peyton Manning. And you just get the idea that this defense for Arizona is going to have to come up with some more turnovers in order to have a chance in this game.
Timeout called by Peyton Manning, and he's frustrated, and he grabs Monte Ball.
First charge.
In a good way.
Second timeout.
Friendly grab. And so a timeout, obviously the first of the half, taken by Manning, taken by the Broncos. It did catch your attention. We referenced it earlier with Peyton Manning, the way he basically runs a practice like he did on Friday. And as you said, if you don't run the right route during practice, he's not afraid to let you know you didn't run the right route.
Well, Peyton was in a foul mood on Friday, and I don't know exactly what the reasoning was behind it, but he is very demanding, of the players. He expects perfection in a lot of ways, and it's not surprising then when you see it's one thing for him to have the success he had at Indianapolis, but to come here to a new team and a new way of doing things and to impose his style and have the results that he's had, it really is a testament to the way he prepares and the way he makes these others prepare around him.
Yeah, he holds them accountable. That's why a guy like Julius Thomas or young Demaryius Thomas is in such good hands. Here's Welker, and why a guy like Brock Osweiler, who's hardly sniffed the field, a second-round pick in 2012 out of Arizona State. Whenever the day comes, Osweiler's had the best tutor he could possibly have in Peyton Manning.
Well, a lot of times when you've backed up a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady, then when you get your chance to be the guy, you think that's how you're supposed to act, but you got to have some successes before you can start doing some of the things that Peyton does in a practice.
Manning gonna air it out. Flag is thrown. Here's Thomas again, but a flag is down. Thomas into the end zone. Touchdown. There are flags all over the field. There are 3 of them down there.
You see Peyton Manning, he's celebrating touchdown. A lot of contact. Cromartie on Demaryius Thomas. Cromartie still wanting to make up for giving up the touchdown before the end of the first half. Physical off the line of scrimmage.
There were fouls against both teams. Personal foul, chop block by the offense, number 78. Holding, number 31 of the defense. Those penalties offset. Replay for down.
So forget a 77-yarder to Demaryius Thomas, which would be his 3rd long touchdown of the game. Here's the chop block against the 3-time Pro Bowler Ryan Clady. And Thomas was involved.
Julius Thomas was the one who went low. And that's really the guy who they call on that, and a big play coming back.
So instead of a 77-yarder, they go with an 86-yarder. Which is the longest play from scrimmage this season in the NFL, and a 31-yarder, all for Demaryius Thomas. It's 3rd and 7 again. And because of that long run, Demaryius Thomas is on the sideline. It's a big weapon not to have out there. Here's one for Caldwell. Nice play defensively for Arizona. There's no flag as Antonio Cromartie got his right hand in there.
Pretty good stuff right there. Peyton Manning comes right back on Antonio Cromartie. Cromartie, who's given up a couple big plays, even though the last one got called back, he's still locked up. Man-to-man coverage, press off the line of scrimmage, and makes a nice play at the end of that play there to force a punt. You say you got to have a short memory as a corner, and Cromartie gets right back into his position and does what he does.
Beautiful punt hit by Colquitt. That was good work by Cromartie. And Ginn hops out of bounds at the 24. After a 59-yard punt, they've been going after Cromartie. Antonio won that last battle.
Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. By Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. By KFC, the world's best chicken. How do you KFC? And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
Wow. How good is that? A GoPro. A skydiver before the game. Blitz coming from Denver. Cardinals pick it up and nearly picked off by Brandon Marshall as he flashed in front of Larry Fitzgerald.
What a good play by Brandon Marshall. as he lays out to break up this pass. One of the things that he does well, he moves exceptionally well. He got his opportunity to play quite a bit when Trevathan was down. Thought he did a pretty nice job. They're glad to have Trevathan back. But a good play there by Brandon Marshall.
Guy who was on the practice squad. And he's been elevated now. Started, as Troy said, the first 3 games for the injured Trevathan. He's going to get a lot of work. Second down, John Brown. Just smoked. He was hit and hit hard by Trevathan, who's back first week back, a gain of 3.
Well, this defense is really starting to find themselves, Joe. Jack Del Rio doing a nice job. 2 weeks ago when they played Seattle, it was really this defense that got that game turned back around to give Denver a chance. Now, they didn't make a stop in overtime and they ended up losing that game, but they give up a couple drives in this game, settle for 2 field goals. Other than that, Cardinals really haven't done much on offense.
Yeah, guy who's been a 9-year head coach in the NFL, as you saw in Jacksonville. Third down and 7. Stanton gets hit. Pass incomplete. And Stanton is slow to get up. They need him to get up. Backing him up is a 4th-round rookie, Logan Thomas, as Von Miller came in again.
Yeah, Von Miller off the edge. I mean, we've seen this now a couple times. Earlier in the first half, the same situation against Massey. Von Miller off the edge and gets right into Stanton's face.
Zastudil, one of his better ones of the day. A little hang to it and a fair catch by Burse. Take a break, come back. Peyton Manning, second possession. Second half. Broncos up 8. Really nice moment at halftime as they celebrated and recognized nearly 100 breast cancer survivors. Annual screening saves lives. Help finish the fight against breast cancer by visiting NFL.com/pink to celebrate the NFL and American Cancer Society's first ever A Crucial Catch Day on October 25th. From the 30. Can the ground game get going? Good second effort by Ball. They're looking at Drew Stanton over on the sideline after that big hit from Von Miller.
Well, Von Miller, you see the right arm as he's throwing the ball. He comes in with the helmet, right underneath there, and you get exposed then as a quarterback, and now you see the young rookie warming up. He may get his opportunity.
4th-round pick out of Virginia Tech. Here's a wide open receiver, and there he is again, Emmanuel Sanders, and able to hang on after a big hit, and now back behind the play. A player is down, but this guy's all over the field.
This was a big hit at the end of this play too, and they warrant that he was a runner and not a defenseless receiver, and that's why there's no flag, but it's close. You got to get 2 feet down, but it was a big time hit. Emmanuel Sanders hangs on to the ball.
Montee Ball is down. They're looking at the top running back for the Broncos. We'll take a break.
This game is sponsored by Verizon. More live games than ever before with NFL Mobile.
We just had a couple of things happen here. Montee Ball needed some help to get off the field, and Drew Stanton, the quarterback for the Cardinals, just left. We're going to get a closer look at the body of Stanton. Maybe in an x-ray machine is Manning. They're going to throw a flag. Emmanuel Sanders was bothered and possibly held or interfered with by Peterson.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 21 defense, 5-yard penalty previous spot, automatic first down.
That's a pretty good matchup right there between those two guys. Patrick Peterson, one of the best corners in all of football, signed a big contract, and he is outstanding. And talking with Todd Bowles, he says, hey, the guy can get even better, but he's matched up with Emmanuel Sanders in the slot, and just as Sanders tries to come out of that break, he was held.
Ronnie Hillman now in the backfield with Ball injured, and Hillman breaks loose. Biggest run of the day for the Broncos. A first down inside the 30, a gain of 12. And we take you down to Aaron Andrews.
Well, we all saw the hit that Drew Stanton took on the field. I watched him over here on the sidelines. Trainers were looking at his left shoulder, but we were just told by the Arizona Cardinals that he was taken back into the locker room. They're evaluating him for a concussion, Joe.
All right, well, that's big news and bad news for Arizona. Jury's out on Palmer and when he's coming back. Now they may have lost his understudy, Drew Stanton. With that, after a carry by Hillman for 3 yards, we'll go to Kurt with a game break.
All right, Alex Smith back at his old stomping grounds in San Francisco throws his second touchdown pass of the game to the rookie DeAnthony Thomas out of Oregon, 17 yards, and they lead at 17-13. Joe, Troy, and Aaron.
Well, the 49ers just aren't what they have been the last few years.
No, they just so much happened with that team going back to the offseason and no contract for Jim Harbaugh, and what's going to happen with him, to holdouts, to suspensions, and it's carried over into the season.
2nd and 7 now. Manning for Thomas. Couldn't get to that spot. 3rd and 7 coming up.
You look at this game right now, Joe, and defensively for Arizona, I mean, they've gotten the takeaways. They set up the touchdown for Arizona offensively. They give the ball to Arizona, to their offense with great field position. They don't do anything with it there. But it's hard to continually hang in there against this offensive group if you're not getting more help from your own offense.
Blitz. Manning nearly picked by Cromartie. Manning has been sacked 1 time in this game, Troy, and that was when he had his foot hit and he was tripped up. But since Peyton Manning's come to the Broncos, the one thing they've really done is protect him well. They've allowed only 45 sacks of this guy, by far the fewest in the NFL since 2012.
He doesn't get sacked a lot. Overall, the line does a pretty good job, but I really credit Peyton more than the offensive line for the few sacks that he has had. Think back to that Super Bowl game, Joe. He got roughed up pretty good, yet he was only sacked 1 time in that game. He gets the ball out quick, even when there are free rushers in his face.
First real long try for McManus. It's his job now, taking over for Prater, who was released, and he's good from 44. That had to feel good, not just for McManus, but for the Broncos front office. Up 11. New this season, stream live local Sunday afternoon games right on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Ted Ginn Jr. waiting for the kick from McManus. Out of the back of the end zone. During the week, the Broncos cut Matt Prater. His suspension was supposed to end after this game. He was the longest tenured Bronco. McManus just hit from 44. Now the story shifts to the other sideline, and the man coming off it, Logan Thomas, the rookie 4th-round pick out of Virginia Tech. He's big, athletic, strong arm. Arians likes him, but he needs to be refined. He's got a lot of work to do, and here he is.
Well, he better like him. He drafted him. You know, and I asked him, is he ready to play, and how much work does he get in practice? He doesn't get any work with these ones. This will be probably the first time he's ever thrown the ball to these receivers.
Is to Ellington. So how will Bruce Arians play it? Here you are down by 11. You're in the game, but you're facing a team that's got Manning on the other sideline. You can try and run the ball all you want, but at some point Logan Thomas is going to have to throw it.
Yeah, you know, knowing Bruce Arians, you know, the best chance they have is take the shots, you know, and Jack Del Rio, the defensive coordinator for Denver, he knows that, but he would have more success taking shots than he will be trying to read defenses and fit balls into tight spaces.
He keeps it, and down he goes. Second play from scrimmage, DeMarcus Ware. He adds a new name to his list, and it's 3rd down.
Well, this is the young guy, Logan Thomas. Here you got DeMarcus Ware coming off the edge, but Logan Thomas has got to step up. You got to help your tackles out. He had a nice, clean pocket inside, and that's just the inexperience of a young quarterback in this league. When you, well, he may not even know who DeMarcus Ware is, but he does now. You know, a guy with that kind of speed and that ability, that's hard. That's hard on the tackle. Beldier.
Ware now with over 120 sacks in the NFL. Thomas gets away from Ware, but can't get away from the rest of the defense. They're going to blow it dead as Thomas got to the 10. We came in talking, or at least expecting a lot from number 15. He led the league, Michael Floyd, in yards per catch. He's been shut down today.
Yeah, they've really shut everybody down. And, you know, so much of this Cardinals offense is about completing some of these big plays down the field. We talked about it earlier. It's what they like to do.
Right now, Denver's going to challenge the call. But if Bill Levy blew the play dead because the forward progress was stopped, you can't review it. And Bill Levy just told that to John Fox. Levy's saying the play's dead, or grasp and control. Even if the ball came out at the end of it, you can't challenge it. So no challenge, and we'll have a punt. And for Arizona, it's the 6th 3-and-out today, 4th straight. But the ball coming out, it doesn't matter if it was grasp and control or if progress was stopped and the play whistled dead. Zastudil's got to come up with a big punt here, with Burst, the rookie, waiting for it. And he hits a decent punt, but a little bit of room. Flag is down. Burst going backward. Well covered downfield, and that's the long snapper, the guy who made the tackle for Arizona, Mike Leach. But a flag down early. They may make him re-punt it. Looks to be against Arizona.
Illegal formation on the kicking team. The 5-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the run. First down, Denver. Timeout.
So they're going to tack it on. Good field position for Peyton Manning and the Broncos offense as they lead Arizona by 11. Will this be history? Yes! Number 500! Congratulations to number 18. We saw number 500 early. He's got his 86th career 300-yard passing day. He hands to Hillman running left. And you just wonder how long this Arizona defense can bend and not break as Hillman carries it for 16 yards.
Well, it's a good job by Ronnie Hillman recognizing the blocking scheme and then getting inside the tackle. Ryan Clady there on the outside, and he opens up a lane, and Hillman now with a couple big runs with the opportunities that he's been given. He didn't have many chances through the first 3 games.
Injury to Montee Ball in this second half. Hillman gets a yard. Let's go down for more injury information. Here's Aaron.
You mentioned this Arizona defense. Tough blow for them. Defensive end Calais Campbell. He's questionable with a right knee injury. Of course, we saw him on the bad end of that chop block. And you mentioned Montee Ball, groin injury, questionable as well, Joe.
And we also saw the rookie tight end from Notre Dame, Troy Nicholas, get carted off for Arizona. So it's been a painful second half. 2nd and 9. Blitz. Broncos pick it up. Thomas downfield working on Cromartie, and those two have seen each other since this thing kicked off.
Well, Todd Bowles knows that he's got an offense that isn't doing much to help out this group, so they've got to sell out defensively, and they're bringing pressure. It's man-to-man across the board, no safety help whatsoever, and just trying to keep the Broncos from getting any closer to the end zone and not giving up any more points.
36-9. 36-9. Omaha.
The rookie Juwan Thompson in the backfield. 3rd down. Pass is incomplete. Peterson was covering Emmanuel Sanders. 4th down. And so maybe a little bit more on McManus. In cutting Matt Prater, they cut a guy who had the best field goal percentage in NFL history at 50 or more yard field goals, 21 of 27. Last year hit a 64-yarder for an NFL record. He's been playoff tested. But A, there was a lot of money involved. And B, he was coming off a suspension for substance abuse. They've gone with the kid, and he just hooked it. His first miss in the NFL. He's now 4 for 5.
Well, that 40-yarder, Joe, that he made had to have given John Elway and John Fox and everybody else in this organization a sigh of relief. because of the decision that you said to release Matt Prater. But, you know, now this, and it's one thing to kick here at Mile High in October. You know, it's another thing when you're doing it in December and certainly in the playoffs, which is where this team's going to be.
There's John Elway, two-time Super Bowl champion here. He's done a brilliant job going to the front office, rebuilding this team each and every year, landing Peyton Manning, and now really attacking his own defense after that debacle in the Super Bowl. So here we go. Second possession, quick short throw, and now a drop from Ellington as Logan Thomas has it for the second time. 7 drops by the Arizona receivers in this game.
Well, and we just saw one on that last play, and this right now, when you've got a young quarterback in there, you really got to rally around him, and each guy's got to, you can't drop the easy ones, then you got to make the tough plays.
So now 2nd and 10. After the 53-yard field goal miss, it's Ellington. He gets a yard and a half. One other note about the nerve specialist Carson Palmer has been seeing, same guy who helped Peyton Manning overcome all those issues in his neck and with a nerve that would help fire on that right arm. Carson's trying to work his way back. Same neurologist that's been working with the great Amy Van Dyken, who was a tremendous United States Olympic swimmer. Wonderful, wonderful girl, married to the longtime punter here, Tom Ruin. Had a tragic accident. Her recovery has been remarkable. Loved in the Denver area. Thinking of her today. Now 3rd and 8. Blitz. Pass incomplete. Logan Thomas ends up on the ground, and Fitzgerald was the closest to it, but he and Thomas were not on the same page.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. They brought pressure, and so Thomas has to get the ball out of his hands. TJ Ward on the blitz, but Larry Fitzgerald was running. He's not even looking for the ball. You know, was not expecting it to be in his vicinity.
Arizona started 3 for 4 on 3rd down in this game against Denver. Now they've gone 0 for their last 9. Let's take a look back. Under 5 to go, 3rd quarter. Denver up by 11 with the ball. How do we get here? Peyton Manning, his first of the day, 500th of his Hall of Fame career, to Julius Thomas, second guy to get to 500 in NFL history. But it was Demaryius Thomas with 2 long ones in the first half. 31 yards and then 86 yards. The Denver defense knocked out Drew Stanton. So any hopes of a comeback, well, they dim a little bit with the rookie Logan Thomas taking over.
You know, I mentioned it early in this half that this defense, they got to make something happen. You know, they got to help out the offense and give them another short field to climb back in it.
Quick throw, and that's batted down as a big defensive lineman got up. That was Kareem Martin, the rookie.
But it kind of shows you coming into this game, Joe, we talked about it. Peyton really expected Julius Thomas to have a big game here today. They were going to spread him out and do some different things because he's, you know, such a matchup problems for a defense. But, you know, he's been relatively quiet, just 2 receptions. Instead, it's been the other Thomas with the big afternoon, as you said.
Handoff is to Hillman. Good pursuit as Foot makes the tackle, but the first guy there was Kareem Martin, who just batted that pass down on 1st down, just a gain of 1.
Well, we saw Calais Campbell walking off the field. We've already talked about the variety of injuries and suspensions and how shorthanded this defense has been, and what a great job Todd Bowles has done, you know, allowing them to come out and still play well. You lose another guy like Calais Campbell, that's hard to overcome, and he's a playmaker, and we saw that with the interception that he had.
Showing blitz. Here they come. 3rd down and 9. Pass caught but short of a 1st down. Julius Thomas, and right on his back was Tony Jefferson. Good work by this Cardinals defense.
Really good. Really good job by them in, you know, what was pretty good field position for Denver once again, and forcing a 3 and out. and hoping that maybe their offense can get something going.
Well, they would like it to start with a big return from Ted Ginn Jr., who has a 71-yard punt return for a touchdown already this season. He waits inside his own 20. Good punt. Fair catch. And Ginn got his hands on it. Denver jumping on a loose ball. Did they get it? Indecision by Ginn. Called for a fair catch, was going to stay away, then he got tempted. He touched it. Denver says they have it. Obviously something that you don't believe the Cardinals can overcome if they don't have the ball.
Well, they're saying that the
Cardinals ball, and that it looked like Troy Denver got on top, and then at the bottom of that pile somebody must have ripped it out of there.
Well, Kayvon Webster is the one who came in initially, and Ted Ginn then was going to field it. He fair caught it, was going to, and then when Kayvon Webster got in there, he got spooked, tried getting out of the way, and the ball comes into him.
Yeah, you're right. It's Webster in there, and then Earl Watford, the big lineman, and I think it was just a tug of war, and Watford won number 78 over Kayvon Webster.
Well, that's usually what happens. It's not always who first gets the ball. It's who has it last at the bottom of those piles.
So from the 19, here's Logan Thomas again. He throws and somehow got it in there. Ellington for the touchdown. No flags. And the Cardinals are right back in it. How did Thomas fit that ball in there, and what a catch by Andre Ellington. 81 yards for the touchdown.
Well, Raheem Moore is asking himself the same question, Joe. You see Ellington, he runs the wheel route from the backfield. There's two receivers essentially in the same position. That's not supposed to happen either, and Nate Irving is right there in a ball that's, you know, he put it right where it had to be.
I mean, that's literally threading a needle. There are two defensive players there for Denver. Thomas ends up on the ground, and Ellington in 13 seconds takes it in. And with that, it's a 4-point game.
How about that? Michael Floyd looked like he was supposed to have more separation than he had from Andre Ellington, but Floyd, as he's going up the numbers, he gets pushed to the outside. That brings over his defender, and then Nate Irving's in coverage on Ellington, and it's, you know, sometimes, you know, you throw it as a young guy and you hope for the best, and this was one of those that worked out. You know, I mean, they obviously liked the matchup that they had with Ellington on the linebacker, but because of Floyd being pushed out wide, it brought that defender over to make a play, and he fails to make the tackle too.
Well, the kid's got one. Logan Thomas, 81 yards. And remember, it was Earl Watford who provided the opportunity by getting the ball at the bottom of that pileup that went off the hands of Ted Ginn.
Well, now we got a ball game.
Arizona 3-0 for the third time in franchise history since the merger in 1970. They started 4-0 in 2012. The guys around the team now that were there then say it's got a much different feel. We're better than we were, meaning they were in 2012. That remains to be seen. All these injuries, including maybe to their top two quarterbacks, but they are on the road in Denver in a 4-point game.
Well, it's hard to win when you have your backup in the game. You know, when you're going with your third guy and he's a rookie quarterback playing on the road at Denver, that's tough duty.
Manning will have it up forward at the 20 with a ton of time left. Well, what's happened? We've seen multiple injuries, none bigger for Arizona at the moment than the one with Drew Stanton on the hit by Von Miller. And the kid took over Troy and just threw a pass where I would say a veteran might not even throw the ball because there's too good a coverage.
Well, sometimes it's good to be young.
How about that block by Floyd to help spring Andre Ellington?
Well, it kind of shows you the versatility of Andre Ellington for those that haven't seen him play, and it was a nice catch.
Here's Juwan Thompson. His first day carrying the ball. C.J. Anderson, another back, was deactivated before the game, so they're left with Ronnie Hillman and Juwan Thompson. Kevin Minter on the tackle for the Cardinals. Ground game's been a little better in the second half for Denver.
Omaha.
Manning slides, has Thomas. Thomas to midfield. The big tight end, the 4-year pro. And last year a Pro Bowler, good for 25.
Yeah, the Cardinals, they put 8 guys in to play the run, one-on-one outside, and then you're working the middle of the field with the linebackers. Julius Thomas gets lost in there. Peyton Manning finds him. It's a nice pickup.
Route 20.
On first down, handoff is to Thompson. Stacked up after a gain of 2. Paul Cornick is going to check in as an eligible receiver as they try to get bigger on the offensive line and eat up some of the clock and get something going on the ground. There's Cornick, first-year player out of North Dakota State. 2nd and 8.
Vegas! 50 is Will. Vegas! Vegas! Got it. Omaha.
Play action. Manning's got a man. Tammy. And the tight end out of bounds at the 32. 16 yards to Jacob Tamme.
Yeah, I like Jacob Tamme. He's a guy who you don't hear a lot about because of all the other good players around him, but I think back to his time there at Indianapolis, and he had some nice catches for Peyton back then. They pick him up here in Denver a couple of years ago, and he runs a good route on that last play, and there's so many guys you're worried about and trying to cover that a guy like him comes in and you just forget about him.
Route 20.
Here's Sanders. Pretty well played out on the edge. Tony Jefferson, the safety, came up and at least slowed down Sanders. A gain of 5, and it looked like there was a lot of room out there to run.
Well, they've tried that play now a few times. Help keep a defense honest, get the ball into his hands.
Denver could let the 3rd quarter expire.
50's Mike. No, 36 is Mike. Omaha.
That's going to be interesting. There was movement, but I don't think Foot came across. Chris Clark said he did.
Number 75 offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
You can force the movement on the offensive line, and that's what Foot just did. And that should be it for the 3rd quarter. And it is. Good work by Larry Foot. That makes the 2nd down longer. It's like about 2nd down and 11 or 12. When we start the 4th, back after this, from your local Fox station. 4-point game. 2nd down as we start the 4th quarter. 2nd and 10, but a long 10.
Yeah, Demaryius Thomas once again locked up with Antonio Cromartie at the top of the screen.
On 2nd down and long, running to his left is Hillman. Gets a big hit as he heads out of bounds from Larry Foot. 3rd down coming up.
Well, obviously, we're just starting the 4th quarter here in a 4-point game, and Arizona just trying to hold Denver to a field goal opportunity on this drive. Overall, I think this defense has held up pretty well.
I'm with you. They've been tested. They're shorthanded. They're now playing without Calais Campbell.
36 Mike.
3rd down and 6. Cardinals back out of that blitz. Catch is made, but short of a 1st down is Welker. And their defending was one of the guys who was up there showing blitz, Deone Bucannon.
Well, Peyton upset that John Fox is not electing to go for it, and that's one of those where Wes Welker, you got to push up, you got to give yourself a chance to where if you complete the pass, it's a 1st down. Now that ball was low and away, and he had to go down to get it, but you want to get enough depth on the route, so you pick up the 1st down.
41-yard try by Brandon McManus. 1 for 2 on the day, coming off his first miss, and that is through. He hits the left upright, and it caroms through. That's usually a bad sound for a kicker, but for McManus, caught a break. 7-point game in Denver.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by the new Volkswagen Jetta. Isn't it time for German engineering? By Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. And by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
They won't need the fake stuff pretty soon. Although the weather just ideal. 72 degrees or in that vicinity at the start of the day. 7-point game. McManus hit from 41. Hit the upright. And the field goal. Tomorrow on Fox, we've got 2 shows everyone's talking about. First, heroes and villains collide in an all-new Gotham. If you haven't seen it, you need to. And it's TV's wildest ride on a new Sleepy Hollow. Tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on Fox. Well, here's Logan Thomas, fresh off an 81-yard touchdown to Andre Ellington. Previous 9 drives for the Cardinals generated 33 yards. Here's Ellington. Going to get 5, maybe 5.5.
Yeah, they haven't had a whole lot of success running the football with Andre Ellington, and it would sure help out this young quarterback if they were able to get it going a little bit. But I talked about it a little bit earlier that this Broncos defense generally real good against the run, and one of the reasons is because of how big they are there in the middle with those 2 defensive tackles.
Terrence Knighton's got his own car commercial on 2nd and 5. Call him the pot roast around here, which is an interesting nickname. Number 98. Not maybe just a tire commercial. That's what it is.
Yeah, tire commercial. Not just pot roast, but the pot roast.
The pot roast.
And when he came here from Jacksonville, he didn't want to be called pot roast. He was hoping to drop the nickname, but
that's got to follow him.
Well, he's become quite a celebrity here in the Denver area, as you said. Now he's doing commercials. I was out there at practice on Fridays, dancing, and
now he's on the sideline.
He'll be on Dancing with the Stars with Aaron next year.
3rd down and 3. Four-man rush. Pass is dropped. Another drop. That was Ginn, and he looked like he had enough for a 1st down, and these receivers haven't helped Stanton or now Logan Thomas at all.
No, the ball's coming at him a little differently. They haven't caught passes from him, but you got to make that play. Ted Ginn's in a position to make the catch. It's a good throw, and they pick up the 1st down and keep this drive going if he does.
8 drops by Arizona today. And 10 straight failed efforts on 3rd down. Good punt. Denver Broncos offense back on the field. 12:20 to go. Ginn missed one there. So Peyton Manning, the offense back to work, up 7. Taking over at the 20, up by 7. They hand the ball off. 5-yard pickup by Ronnie Hillman. Start looking at the numbers, and there are numbers within the numbers. The career games. Favre ended up with 508 touchdown passes. Obviously Peyton Manning got there faster, much faster than Favre. The wins, Favre leads in that category. Brett Favre also with more interceptions in his career. In fact, the most ever. That's Hillman, not much. Favre threw 336 picks. Peyton Manning has 222, including 2 today. And he's faced with 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, Favre had the numbers that Favre had when he retired, Joe. I didn't think that they would be reachable. You know, I mean, some pretty significant numbers. Manning's going to break the touchdowns. He's going to keep playing. There's no way of thinking that he's done. You know, after this year, he'll have all the records by the time he's through.
37!
On 3rd down and 4. Manning steps up. He's got Thomas. He's got a big day. Getting bigger. Out of bounds near the 40. They're going to mark him at the 45. That's where he stepped out. A catch and run of 29.
Well, you get this man-to-man look over and over and over by Arizona. So you run the crossing routes, and then Cromartie's expected to navigate traffic and run stride for stride with Demaryius Thomas, and it's hard to do. You're right, he's having himself a heck of a game here, but these corners, they're on an island the entire game. It's hard to hold up play after play.
Here's Hillman. Nice run by Ronnie Hillman, who had only 2 carries coming into this game for 2 yards. That was good for 13.
Yeah, Ronnie Hillman is a guy that they really like. Think back to last year, as we see the day that Demaryius Thomas has had. You know, they were platooning him and Monte Ball and working in the different guys that they had, Noshan Marino, and then Ronnie Hillman had the month of October, he had back-to-back fumbles, and shoot, he didn't get the ball again until December. You know, so the key for him is hanging on to the football, but he's given this running game a little life here in the second half.
He has. So ball on the sideline. Patrick Peterson now is slow to get up. And there's another guy that's banged up on this defense for Arizona. The thing about it is, with Peyton Manning with the Denver Broncos, there's such a small margin for error when you play them. And that's not just defensively. The pressure's on your offense to try to keep him off the field.
Yeah, I mean, they've given up a lot of yards, Arizona has, but they've done a good job getting off the field on 3rd down, and considering that they haven't gotten much help from their offense, you know, I think they've held up about as well as could be expected. Now you see a guy like Patrick Peterson going off the field. That's awfully difficult to hang in there when you're losing your key players the way that they have in this game, as well as going back to previous weeks.
Here's Welker. Not much. Good play by Powers. Go back to see whatever happened with Patrick Peterson. They're working on the foot, and that's why I got tangled up with Rashad Johnson.
Well, now you start losing a guy like him or someone like Antonio Cromartie, it really does affect what you're doing defensively, because, you know, as we talked about, they're able to play man coverage and allow you to give help in other areas. You lose one of those top corners, now you're having to start giving help in coverage. That changes the dynamic completely defensively.
2nd down and 9. There's Welker. 1st down. Wes Welker out of bounds inside the 12. Wes Welker now, Troy, has the most catches in the history of this league for an undrafted college receiver, and of all people whose record he breaks, Rod Smith, who was so good here with John Elway with the Denver Broncos, but his career has just been remarkable.
I remember when he was in Miami, Jason Garrett was quarterback's coach there on that team, and when they let him go to New England and they didn't sign him with the Dolphins, he said, "We just made a huge mistake." And that was before most people even knew who Wes Welker was.
Here's Hillman. Wow, what a hit by the safety, Tony Jefferson. Rod Smith played 13 years with Denver, had 849 receptions out of Missouri Southern. And now you've got Wes Welker, who played at Texas Tech. He said yesterday in the newspaper, "I wouldn't have drafted me." I mean, come on. I'm 5'9", 185, but there's a big heart beating inside that chest. He is tough.
Well, that's an understatement. He is a great competitor and as tough as they come.
2nd and 10. Manning, is it another? Perfect for the touchdown. Julius Thomas. Number 4 for number 18.
Well, Tony Jefferson is 5'11", Julius Thomas 6'5", and he's got a background in basketball, and he didn't even have to go up for that one. He's just able to get a release, get in behind him, and Peyton Manning throws it to the pylon.
And now the extra point barely sneaks in, but it's a 14-point game. Peyton Manning's got 4 today. 503 in his career. Frustration for that defense. It's played tough all day for Arizona.
This game is sponsored by the new Samsung Galaxy Note 4. The next big thing is here.
Peyton Manning has a 424-yard day and lost another 125 on a replay review and a penalty. We talked about the first touchdown back in 1998 on the fade to Marvin Harrison. Week 1, 1998, what else happened? Ryan Leaf throws a touchdown in his NFL debut. Randy Moss, Fox Sports' Zone Randy Moss. 2 touchdowns in his NFL debut in that year. A spry young quarterback, at least younger. Things were just falling apart with the Dallas Cowboys. You threw 2.
That's right. That was a career high 2 touchdowns. Thank you very much.
In a win over the Cardinals. Soon thereafter, he would be an announcer and need a press pass to get into a stadium. Running for his life is Logan Thomas, who launches it out of bounds. I think the country has seen enough of us for the day, but we'll pop back on. This is what he looks like now in a suit after all those years wearing number 8. As a fellow quarterback and as a Hall of Famer, when you get a chance to do a Peyton Manning game, I know it's a treat the whole weekend, but what does his brilliance mean to you?
Well, Joe, I was just sitting here when you said 424 yards. He's so good, we take it for granted too often.
Here's Ellington. He's got nowhere to go as the defense is just going to swarm Arizona now.
I mean, as someone who knows how hard the position is to play, and then watching him and what he does during the week and how he prepares himself and his team to come out here and play at this level, people have no idea. I mean, they see what happens on Sunday, and he's been doing it a long time. When you start talking about 500 touchdowns, or a guy like Emmitt Smith, who I played for, who has the all-time rushing record, to do that, not only do you have to play at a high level for a long time, but you have to be on the field. You know, I mean, so, you know, he missed the 1 season, but he's been remarkably healthy. It's phenomenal what he's done.
5-time MVP. We're going to have a hold. It'll be declined, and it'll be 4th down.
Holding number 68 offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
You know, you think back now, Joe, it's easy when you say, oh, yeah, well, why wouldn't you go out and sign Peyton Manning? I mean, give John Elway some credit.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, no one knew if he was ever going to be able to play again. And, you know, I think that's a guy, John Elway, who has been overlooked in some of the successes that have taken place here in Denver as well. Bringing Peyton Manning in, and then the way he's been able to work this roster, he's done a terrific job.
It was a recruitment to get Peyton Manning to come here, and as you said, there were no sure bets. Here's the rookie burst. 4 operations on his neck. Missed the year. He's come back. Might be in some ways better than ever. Boy, they got some stars here in Denver, and they all circle around him. Put Aikman to work. Start talking about some other teams around the NFL.
Come on, don't overload me.
We watch the last 640 and watch Peyton Manning challenge Favre maybe here today. Already got 4 touchdowns. 5 away from the all-time record set by Brett Favre. They're going to put it up. Why not? Wide open is Thomas. He's over 200 yards as he adds to his career best day. He's been itching for a day like this.
Yeah, it's a good coming out for this season for Demaryius Thomas. It's an outstanding route on the outside. It's been quite a battle going on the outside between he and Cromartie. Antonio Cromartie, as I said, he's one of the better players in this league. Really a fine corner, but he's had his hands full this afternoon.
213 receiving yards for number 88 and 2 touchdowns. Manning pulls it down, floats it for Hillman, out of bounds. Well, they have tried to find number 31 all day long, and he's been staring into the chest, and then after that, the back of Demaryius Thomas.
I think a little bit of it too, though, Joe, is the guy opposite of him, Patrick Peterson, is something special too. And having played with Deion Sanders, if he's on the field, that other corner is going to get a lot of work. And that's what's happened in this game. They've kind of stayed away from Patrick Peterson. Instead, they've been trying to exploit this matchup with success with Demaryius Thomas and Antonio Cromartie.
Peterson is still out. We saw him, he worked on his foot. Last time Denver had it. High snap. Handoff is to Hillman. Peterson in the dressing room for the Cardinals. The defense is just dragging now for the Arizona Cardinals. They're losing guys. They're losing air. They've been out there for a long time, and good job by Peyton Manning to get up and one-hand that high snap.
We see Buchanan, he's leaving the field. He looks like he's gimped a little bit as well.
Demaryius Thomas could set a Broncos franchise record. This one is caught by Julius Thomas, the tight end. Troy Demaryius Thomas, 213 receiving yards today, one away from the record set by Shannon Sharpe back in 2002, the Hall of Famer at Kansas City.
Yeah, like you said a moment ago, that the one that was called back.
First and goal. Thompson, that's his first. A college free agent from Duke carries it in from 8 yards out.
Well, Ryan Clady, he does a good job of getting his guy off the ball. They're not able to get the tackle. There when they get their hands on him with Martin. Just a good drive. This defense just gassed.
41-20. Another team that's picked it up is piloted by Peyton's little brother, two-time Super Bowl champ Eli Manning. They look like they were completely lost, and now they've got 3 straight wins, and they welcome in their top pick, Odell Beckham Jr., his first game battling with a bad hamstring, had 4 catches and a touchdown today.
Yeah, good to have him back. I know they've been waiting on him, and you're right, the first 2 weeks, Joe, the Giants looked terrible. I mean, I don't know what I was watching, especially on offense. A new offense for Eli Manning, but the last 3 weeks, that win at Washington I thought was huge. Against a team that had been playing pretty good, primetime game, and yet they're able to come out of there with a victory, and then against an Atlanta team that showed some pretty good signs here in the early going. So those are 3 good wins for the Giants team to get themselves right back in the middle of this division race, which is a lot more competitive right now with the Cowboys at 4-1 and the Eagles at 4-1 than what we thought coming into this year.
Yeah, that Ben McAdoo offense, they are hitting their stride. And that's good news for Eli Manning, Tom Coughlin, the Giants. That looked like that was going to end ugly. And now here they are, staring up, but only 1 game behind Philly and Dallas. Can't wait for tomorrow night on Fox Sports 1. And a matchup of the Dodgers and the Cardinals. 2 one-run games. John Lackey for St. Louis. Ryu for the Dodgers at 9 Eastern tomorrow night. Fox Sports 1. Streaming live on Fox Sports Go. And Lackey's been a big game pitcher. It's why they got him at the deadline from Boston. And Ryu Been bothered by shoulder inflammation, but he's back.
And you're leaving me with Brenneman for the next 3 weeks.
Tommy Brenneman will be doing his thing. You guys are even going to go over to London. Here's a pass behind Floyd. Can you highlight enough what Tom Moore meant early and probably still to this day in the career of then a young Peyton Manning in Indy?
Peyton said it was a proud moment in his life when Tom Moore started to text, because you always had to leave a voicemail for him, and then eventually he'd get back to him. And now he's able to text with Peyton, and Peyton was telling some great Tom Moore stories. Tremendous admiration for him and what he meant to his career there in Indianapolis, and it was fun listening to Peyton reminisce.
He's now the assistant head coach for the Arizona Cardinals as Ellington loses yardage. T.J. Ward, who was one of the additions to this defense for Denver, up to make the stop, a loss of 1. So you had not only him, but the quarterback's coach for Peyton Manning was now the Arizona head coach, Bruce Arians.
Well, Peyton said when he left Indianapolis, he threw a retirement party for Tom Moore. He thought he was done coaching, and then the next thing he knows, he's coming to Arizona and he's on the staff. And Peyton said, "Hey, I'm taking everything back. I'm taking all my toast back, all my money back." He'll have to throw another one for him here in a few years.
They're down in 11. Good arm strength, but out of bounds is the second foot. The left one did not come down. Michael Floyd, good effort. You can see the zip that this young quarterback, Logan Thomas, can put on a football.
I want to talk about Tom Moore some more.
Go ahead.
The other guy he threw a retirement party for was Howard Mudd. Remember, the offensive line coach? He had been there forever as well. And Peyton throwing all these retirement parties for everybody, and none of them retired.
That's great. Peyton can afford it. It's a 10th 3 and out by Arizona as Burse crosses midfield. Week 5 Sunday Night Football tonight, 8:30 Eastern on NBC. There's the matchup. The undefeated Bengals against the Patriots. And then tomorrow night, football on ESPN. This will just get you ready for baseball on Fox Sports 1, the Seahawks and the Redskins. How about this day for the defense that came in ranked 5th overall? There are a lot of defenses that have come here to Denver and left worn out and not embarrassed. That's not the word, but just shredded. And that's what Peyton Manning and this offense has done to Bruce Arians' group. And they are undermanned and they are tired.
Yeah, it even goes back before then. You think back to the late 90s with John Elway and Mike Shanahan when he took over as head coach, and how explosive those teams were offensively. These fans have, I don't want to say been spoiled, because they really appreciate great football, but they've had an opportunity to watch great offenses and great quarterback play for a long time.
Pass is caught. There's the record, the franchise record for receiving yards in a game is Demaryius Thomas. He's got to be looking at these Cardinals defenders. Cardinal defenders have to be saying, enough? You guys good yet, or you want to keep going?
They're going to say, hey, when are you going to take 18 out of the game while you're at it?
So's Brock Osweiler. You got to be saying, what does it take to get into a game?
Well, not 21-point lead with 3 minutes to play, I guess.
20.
Good play made by one of the linebackers. That's Kevin Minter on Ronnie Hillman. Second down coming up. There's Brock. They say he has really made a lot of progress, but that's like making progress on the driving range. Go to the first tee, it's a different story.
Well, it's going to be interesting when and if he ever gets an opportunity to be at the helm. He's 6'8", and they always criticize the young the short quarterbacks, but you don't know of many guys 6'7" and 6'8" that have had much success in this league either.
Nick Foles is pretty close. I think he's 6'6". I mean, Osweiler is like the new Jim Sorgi. All those years in Indianapolis. Number 17, that's the number he wears. He wears 18 with 2 minutes left. He leads by 21. If Manning throws for a first down here, he'll have a new career high for passing yards in a game.
Blue 20.
3rd and 11. Gonna keep it. Gonna throw it. Pass is caught. Was he in bounds? It's Sanders, and it's a catch. And a new career high for passing yards in a game. At least at the moment, it's a catch. That's close. 13 yards, which would give Peyton 479 in the game. And I don't know that that left foot's down. No challenge, so it'll stand. We're inside 2 minutes. It would have to be Booth initiated. And a new career high. And now 4 touchdown passes shy of Brett Favre is Peyton Manning. He had 4 today. He started at 499. So while that graphic looked pretty, he's actually at 503. 2nd and 8. I don't want Arians to get scared that he's not going to be able to get on a charter and go back. Like he said, if he breaks Brett Favre's record in this game, I'm not getting on the plane. You can say what you want about Peyton. Believe me, we've said a ton. But this defense, I will maintain, they fought as hard as they could until they just ran out of guys and gas.
Well, I thought so too. And then you look at the numbers on what Denver was able to do. But they moved the ball, and then, like I said, they were able to get off the field. If they had gotten some help from their offense, this game looks entirely different. But trying to hold up against this group for that long, just impossible to do.
For the first time this season, John Fox's club puts together 2 strong halves. That had been one of the storylines coming in. They started slowly in the second half, but then they took off, and they're starting to look, Troy, now with a healthy defense, and now with Welker back and Demaryius Thomas doing his thing and Peyton Manning, they're starting to look a lot like the team last year, maybe inching toward being even better.
Well, we saw today them get back to what they did all of last year. That's the 3 wide receiver sets. Don't commit so much to the run. Throw the ball, put the ball in Peyton Manning's hand, and he played brilliant.
He really did. How about that long career that started in '98? He's got a single game passing record. Peyton Manning does. They were celebrating from the start here in Denver as they saw history. Manning and the 500 touchdown club. Back to wrap up.